The card made a sound I will never forget. Not a beep. A hollow rejection cutting through the music of a room full of people who came to watch me succeed. Richard held the machine toward me. Screen flashed red. Insufficient funds. I pulled out my phone with steady hands. My balance was 0. Then a photo arrived. My brother Caleb. First class cabin. Champagne glass raised. Thanks for the retirement fund, sis. Mom said you'd be happy for me. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you are listening from. My name is Sienna. I am 32 years old and an AI systems engineer in San Francisco. I build infrastructure that other people's companies run on. Quietly. Precisely. Without credit. That has always been my role in this family too. For a decade I paid the property taxes on the house my parents lived in. I covered Caleb's 3 failed businesses without being asked. I absorbed his debts the way you absorb a bad habit. Slowly without noticing how much it costs. And I funded my father's medical trust. He has a degenerative heart condition. 3 years ago doctors gave him a timeline. I spent every spare dollar building a protected account for his surgery. Supposed to be untouchable. Nobody in my family ever said thank you. What they said instead was, "You're the successful one. You can handle it." That sentence cost me $2.5 million. I stepped into the service corridor. I had told Richard 5 minutes. I needed 3. My fingers ran a forensic audit on my own accounts the way I run diagnostics on a failing system. Fast. Clinical. The trail was clean and devastating. Unauthorized wire transfers from a familiar IP address. My childhood home. Caleb had taken 40 minutes to dismantle 10 years. But then I found the entry that made my blood run cold. My father's surgery fund. Paid. Gone. I checked the signatory logs. Deborah had used her secondary access to authorize every transfer. She hadn't just opened the door for Caleb. She had packed his bags. I drove to Oak Park. To the house I had bought them. I found Deborah folding silk into a suitcase. She didn't look up when I walked in. "Mom," I said. "Caleb took everything. He took Dad's surgery money. Where's he?" He finally turned. Cool as a frozen lake. "Stop shrieking, Sienna. He just needed startup capital." "That is grand larceny," I said. "You always make everything about yourself. Family helps family. You can make more money." She turned back to her suitcase. "We are going to Cabo until you calm down." I drove home. I found Arya in the living room. 11 years old. Surrounded by monitors. Her glasses pushed up her nose. "Mom," she said. Small voice. "Steady. I know. I handled it." I froze. "What do you mean you handled it?" She rotated her iPad. "I saw Uncle Caleb looking at your laptop last Tuesday," she said. "He thought he was sneaky, but I saw his reflection in the patio door. I knew he would try something. So when he went to the bathroom that night I went on his laptop." She pulled up a flowchart. Clean. Color-coded. I didn't lock him out. I needed him to feel yes. I built a fake banking portal. When Uncle Caleb logged in he wasn't looking at the real bank. He was looking at my simulation. A big fat number with lots of zeros. I stared at her. "So he didn't move the money." "Oh, he moved it," Arya said with a calm that terrified me. "But not dollars. Pixels. The real money is in a secured escrow account." She looked at me over her glasses. "Completely untouched, Mom. I just needed him to feel rich long enough to get on the plane." Arya had also built a honeypot. The moment Caleb tried to spend at a major merchant, the system would trigger a fraud alert across every banking network he touched. We just had to wait for him to get confident. We didn't wait long. 2 days after landing in Dubai his account pinged. He had tried to book the Royal Bridge suite. $50,000. Single night. Arya's iPad pulsed crimson. "He took the bait," she said. "Trap is sprung." Then my phone rang. FaceTime. "He wants to gloat," Arya said. "Answer it." Act broken. I swiped green. Caleb was on a sun-drenched balcony. Champagne glass. That smile. "Hello, poor sister. Thanks for the donation. This is the life I was always meant to live." I forced a sob. "Caleb, please. That was Arya's college fund. Send it back." He laughed. "I'm going to burn through this cash just to watch you clip coupons." Then a knock on his door. 4 men stepped into the frame. 2 Dubai police officers and the hotel manager. "Mr. Miller. The card you provided has been declined. The issuer flagged this account." Settle the bill or we involve the authorities. Caleb laughed. Watch this, Sienna. Watch me buy this whole floor. He jammed the card into the reader. Beep. Declined. He tried again. Beep. Declined. The blood drained from his face. Arya took my phone. She adjusted her glasses and looked directly into the camera. Hello, Uncle Caleb. When you clicked transfer, you were moving pixels on a screen. You have been flying around the world on a card maxed out since yesterday. Caleb stared at her. You are 11 years old. Arya smiled. You thought you were stealing a fortune. You were just beta testing my software. You failed. The handcuffs clicked shut. The next morning, Deborah banged on my door. Caleb was in a Dubai detention center and apparently it was my fault. She demanded I sell the house to free him. I said no. She threatened to burn it down. Then she lunged at Arya. I caught her wrist and pointed at the blue light on the wall. The Nest camera had been recording since the moment she walked in. Every word. Every threat. Every admission. I showed her footage of herself handing Caleb the boarding pass and cash. That is aiding and abetting a fugitive, I said. Email this to the district attorney and you will be in a cell next to him. Deborah shrank. Leave and never contact us again or explain yourself to investigators. She walked out. I threw the deadbolt. 8 months later, Caleb was deported from Dubai into federal agents at San Francisco Airport. You are under arrest for wire fraud and identity theft. He hit the floor, realizing the trap had never stopped. Dubai had just been the beginning. He was sentenced to 12 years. Deborah was served divorce papers by my father 3 weeks later. She never saw it coming. Neither of them did. I sit on a deck in the Maldives watching Arya snorkel in water so clear you can see her shadow on the sand below. She surfaces. Pushes her mask up. Gives me a thumbs up. My compassion was a luxury they overdraft for years. I kept funding a version of family that didn't actually exist. Kept paying for seats at a table where nobody saved one for me. That is over. My father calls on Sundays. His surgery was successful. He spent a long time apologizing. I spent a long time listening. We're finding our way back. Arya asks me sometimes if I miss them. Deborah. I think about it honestly. I miss who I thought they were. But the people who stood in the breach when everything fell apart were never the ones who shared my blood. They were the 11-year-old who saw a reflection in a patio door and built a fortress while I was falling apart. You cannot save people determined to drown you. Cut them off so you can live. Arya surfaces again. Hair everywhere. Grinning. Mom, she calls out. The fish here are unreal. I close my laptop. I go in after her.